Good evening and welcome to Legal Matters with the Crosby Law Firm. I'm Mike Garrigan and my guest this evening is attorney Michael Crosby with the Crosby Law Firm. Legal Matters is an informational and news call-in show devoted to legal topics of interest to State Line viewers. We have attorneys standing by right now live to take your call at the number on your screen. That's 815-397-2006. We'll provide you with free information on your issue, so call now and throughout the next hour. Time for tonight's opening statement. In our first segment, we are going to talk about springtime weddings, prenuptial agreements, and the struggles surrounding divorces. And in our second segment, we'll continue that popular You Want to Know question and answer segment that's devoted to questions posed by you, the viewer, by way of telephones, email, texts, and tweets that we have received. We have a lot of questions on auto accidents tonight, so stay tuned for that as well. Before we get started tonight, though, let's take time to remind you of the practice areas that the Crosby Law Firm concentrates in. The Crosby Law Firm has a Center for Divorce and Family Law, an Auto Accident, Injury, and Social Security Disability Department, a Bankruptcy Institute, an Office for DUI, Traffic, and Criminal Defense, an Advanced Care Plan and Probate Center, a Division for Real Estate and Business Matters, and a Department for Immigration and Naturalization Services. So please feel free to call tonight and discuss any of these practice areas with the attorney standing by live. Now, before we move on, Mike, I know you'd like to pay tribute to a colleague of yours and really someone that was really a public servant to this community.
Yeah, just a moment. Tom Meyer, who was a colleague of mine, a lawyer here in town, passed away in May. And I just wanted to say a word to his surviving wife and to his children. He made a good contribution to our community as an alderman. He supported and advised Mayor Box, Mayor McNamara, and Mayor Scott. And he'll be missed by a lot of people in town. He touched a lot of folks in a very positive way.
And I know he even was a coach at Roy Gale, so baseball, and very active in the community as well.
That's right.
All right, well, let's move on to the main topic of concern today, prenuptial agreements and divorces. In our culture, springtime and summer weddings are very popular, and we are now in that season, so I thought it might be appropriate to spend some time talking about prenuptial agreements. And while we discussed divorce only several months ago, the topic generated so much interest, I thought we should flesh out additional details regarding divorce and paternity matters tonight. But firstly, Michael, what are your thoughts on prenuptial agreements?
Good question. It is the time of the year when a lot of folks get married, springtime and summer. As a general rule, prenuptial agreements is an item that should be contemplated if there is a vast net worth or income disparity between the proposed husband and the proposed wife. So if there's a big income disparity, it's something to look at. Another instance where it can sometimes be utilized in a productive and positive way, if it's a second marriage for either or both of the two prospective spouses. And if one of the two or both spouses have children from a previous marriage, there may be some merit to a prenuptial agreement. So our office, again, we've been doing this for 34 years, and we've done a fair share of prenups. And this time of the year, when weddings are in the offing, it's something to think about. I would also say that for the youngsters getting married out there where all things are pretty much equal or the same, I understand the romance issue, and I understand the commitment and the trust issue. So in a lot of these young marriages where incomes are about the same and there's not children involved, a prenup perhaps may be an overkill, but if someone wants to come in and talk with us about it, I'll be happy to take their call and field their question.
Okay, so what if they're in the strongest of relationships? Would you advise a prenuptial? And what if a spouse is caught cheating? How does that affect the enforcement of a prenup?
Good question. I think in a strong relationship, again, if it's a second marriage and there's children from the previous marriage, or if there's a vast income disparity, even in a good, strong, committed relationship, a prenuptial agreement is a prudent matter to examine and to look at and possibly to employ. If someone gets caught cheating after they're married and they've got a prenuptial agreement, as to whether that voids the prenuptial agreement somewhat depends on the language in the prenuptial agreement. It's a contract running between the two spouses. So I'd have to examine the prenuptial agreement and see what it says.
Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, I think it's important to take some time tonight to further discuss the difficult issue of divorce and paternity. The response to the subject several months ago, as you recall, was so overwhelming. I think it's important that we spend additional time on it tonight. And Michael, can you take a few moments to share with our audience how the Crosby Law Firm handles, emotional dynamics connected with divorce and paternity?
Sure. The first thing, and I think touched on this several months ago. When someone comes in to meet with us on a prospective divorce, we'll spend some time talking with them about whether this is really the remedy that they're looking for. Have they examined marriage counseling? Have they gone to their minister, their rabbi, or their priest? Have they contacted a secular or Christian-based counselor for advice? If they really believe that they've exhausted all those possibilities, then we're there to help. And even if they haven't exhausted those possibilities, there are occasions when our law firm will intervene and assist people, directing them to counseling that will help restore their marriage, reconcile their differences. So a divorce is a highly, highly emotionally charged endeavor. We do a lot of divorce work, and the first thing I look at the emotional dynamics, the support systems in place, parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, people that are there for the party going through this. So they've got good support, good advocacy.
It can really be stressful and time consuming. How long does a divorce take from start to finish, and what are some of the core issues that you deal with when dealing with divorce?
Most divorces take 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, some up to a year. We've done some divorces in our office in as little as 30 days. We've had others that have gone on for 2 to 3 years. It's a case-by-case analysis. Depends on children, property, debts, alimony prospects, so forth and so on.
Okay. And talking about divorce cases with children, you know, it's hard to handle all those issues. It occurs to me that there are many boyfriend-girlfriend relationships from which children are born and the boyfriend and girlfriend then break up subsequently. What happens in these instances?
These are commonly referred to as paternity cases, establishing who the father is, who the parent is. In our culture today, more and more people are committing to each other, but not in a legal sense where there's a marriage that would lead to a divorce. It's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, a partnership, if you will, driven by emotions and driven sometime by family, by children. So in those cases, when a boyfriend and a girlfriend decide to break up, there are a lot of issues to cover, not only regarding property, but of course, most importantly, regarding children. Custody, visitation, child support. We do a lot of that work in our office, and it's important for the viewer to know that it's not just divorce cases, it's also boyfriend-girlfriend cases.
A lot of emotional decisions need to be made, so that's important to have a professional to help you out through that.
Absolutely, no question about it.
We're going to take a short break, but our attorneys are manning the phones right now live, so keep those calls coming. 815-397-2006. When we come back, it's time to bring back our popular You Want to Know segment. That's where we answer questions we've received from you, the viewers.
At the Crosby Law Firm, solving your legal problems and making your financial life easier is what we're all about. Unlike many law firms, we have options to help you reach your goals. Representing clients in many areas of law, we offer free initial consultations, flat fees instead of hourly rates, so you'll know where you stand. And if you need extra time to pay, we offer payment plans to meet every client's budget. Call the Crosby Law Firm today at 815-397-2006 for your free consultation. It's a new day in the Rock River Valley. Construction projects are underway. The housing market is recovering, and confidence is returning. As we celebrate this perseverance, the state line is prouder, stronger, and better. And so too are the individuals who have relied upon the leadership of the Crosby Law Firm to protect their rights. In honor of the American spirit, the Crosby Law Firm proudly salutes we the people of the State Line community.
Welcome back to Legal Matters. In response to the thousands of telephone calls and positive feedback from you, the viewer, in connection with the Legal Matters show, we are continuing our rapid-fire question and answer segment called You Want to Know. In an effort to protect viewer confidentiality, please understand that we are only using first names. We may alter the location of the viewer and the nature of the question somewhat. So here we go. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. We have our first question. It comes from Zach in Freeport. And Zach asks, in many years of driving, I have seen or heard on the news about accidents involving semi-trucks, motorcycles, and cars that have resulted in death or serious injury. Does the Crosby Law Firm handle serious auto accident cases, and what sets the law firm apart from the others who claim to do this kind of work?
The answer to the viewer's question to Zach in Freeport, we do a lot of serious auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident cases that result in paralysis, death, spinal cord injuries, head injuries. A significant part of our practice over 34 years has been devoted to these kinds of injuries, so I would encourage the callers out there to give us a call. We'll be happy to help them. We have settled or taken to verdict multi-million-dollar cases, so a significant part of our practice is devoted to serious injuries. One of the things that I think sets us apart from some of the other firms who claim to do this kind of work is our local roots and our lasting strength. I'm born and bred here. This is my community. We know the area, and we devote a lot of our time to this work, and we're sensitive to the community as a result.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Our second question really isn't a question, it's more of a statement. It comes from John in Rockford. He says, I don't need a lawyer. All I hear is that it is just going to cost me more money. In fact, I'm thinking about representing myself for my auto accident claim. It's pretty much an open and shut case. Guy hit me, so what's to lose? So what advice would you have for John there?
With all due respect to John, amateur hour. If John's been in an accident and if he's suffered personal injury or property damage to his vehicle, he needs to retain a lawyer. We work on a contingency fee basis for the serious auto accidents or the minor auto accidents, so there's no cost to John. We only get paid if we recover for the Johns of the world, and many of our cases in the office are more modest cases. We handle a lot of serious cases, as I mentioned before, but we do a lot of modest cases as well. So by all means, if you've been injured in an accident or suffered property damage connected with an accident, please give us a call. We're happy to help.
And we mentioned earlier that auto accidents would be the theme for a lot of these questions. One more from Vince in Winnebago. He says, I park my car and take my wife into a movie. We return to find an angry man parked behind my car who's certain that I damaged his car while I parallel parked. He says, although I am sure I have never even touched his car. As the man became more and more irate, I felt scared, so I took off. Can I be charged with fleeing from the scene of an accident if technically I wasn't in the accident to begin with? What should I do here? Interesting.
This is really more of a traffic criminal case than an auto accident personal injury case. The response is, if you have this kind of a confrontation in a parking lot and you fear for your physical well-being, you should leave. Does that mean that you might be charged later for leaving the scene of an accident? It could happen, but you've got to balance that against your own public safety. So my counsel to Vince, if he's confronted by someone, he needs to avoid the conflict and leave. In this case, Vince, I don't think, caused the fender bender, and so I don't think he was really leaving the scene of an accident caused by him, so I don't think there's any offense here to start with, but I think the prudent thing to do, avoid the conflict.
All right. We continue our rapid fire questions with Ethel in Rockford. She asks, my family and I have participated in various foreign exchange programs where we have hosted foreign exchange high school students. There are occasions when these students would like to continue on with the American education and perhaps stay in America long term. Does a Crosby law firm do immigration work, and is a law firm able to help foreign exchange students in this regard?
We have an immigration and naturalization department at our office. A lot of folks think of immigration work devoted primarily to Hispanics who may come across our southern border, and while we do a lot of that, we also do a lot of work regarding foreign exchange students from China, from other places in Asia, from Europe, from South America, who want to come here for a foreign exchange program at high school and then may want to matriculate onto one of our colleges. And so I would encourage host families or high schools who have students that are foreign exchange students that are moving on to college to contact our office. We'll be happy to help those young students as they move on to college. If they want to stay in our country long term as legal residents, there are many programs available in that regard as well, and we'll be happy to help them. So we do a lot of this work in our office. I'd encourage the viewers to give us a call who have these kinds of issues.
All right, a lot of different aspects covered for sure today. And the next question comes from Angie in Pecatonica. Angie asks, I recently inherited a few hundred acres of land in Wisconsin. That's a nice problem. I don't want to sell, as I hope my children can make use of it when I'm gone. In the meantime, I don't know what to do with it. I don't live close enough to keep a good eye on it, and every once in a while I get calls about people trespassing. How can I protect the land? Should I set up a trust and have someone manage it? Does it help to declare it in my will? What should I do?
Angie's got a lot of questions here and a lot of things to cover. I think the core here is the advanced care planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney if you're not able to maintain the land and you should become disabled, and of course what should happen at the probate stage. A lot of our work in our office is devoted to advanced care planning and estate administration when somebody passes on. If Angie's inherited some land in Wisconsin, that's a very cool thing for her. I'd encourage her to give us a call. I'll be happy to walk her through what she should do to protect herself.
Okay, a little bit over a minute for this next question. It's from Tyler in Winnebago County. What are the benefits of hiring a lawyer for the sale or purchase of my home rather than using a real estate agent?
Tyler asks a very good question. In Rockford, Northern Illinois, June, July, August, September are the peak months for home purchases and home sales. This is probably the largest investment that most people in our community make during their lifetime. It is a slam dunk, no-brainer to retain a lawyer. That is not to say that a real estate broker doesn't play a valuable role in this whole process. The real estate broker is going to introduce ready, willing, and able buyers and ready, willing, and able sellers and try to broker the transaction. The lawyer is going to protect the seller, protect the buyer to make sure the transaction closes in a smooth and orderly fashion. We do a lot of real estate work in our office. I'd encourage Tyler, his friends and relatives to give us a call. We'll be happy to represent him in the purchase or sale of his home.
We got through a lot of questions, Michael. Very good. Now, Susan from Rockford asked about bankruptcy and foreclosure. We'll get to that in the next episode. And again, we do want to tell you that lawyers are standing by at the Crosby Law Firm, and they will answer any legal question you have for free and live. Again, just call the number on your screen. Coming up on Legal Matters, John Hansen from the American Law Firm will join us to give his insights on estate planning and also criminal record expungement. Stay with us.
At the Crosby Law Firm, solving your legal problems and making your financial life easier is what we're all about. Unlike many law firms, we have options to help you reach your goals. Representing clients in many areas of law, we offer free initial consultations, flat fees instead of hourly rates, so you'll know where you stand. And if you need extra time to pay, we offer payment plans to meet every client's budget. Call the Crosby Law Firm today at 815-397-2006 for your free consultation. It's a new day in the Rock River Valley. Construction projects are underway. The housing market is recovering, and confidence is returning. As we celebrate this perseverance, the state line is prouder, stronger, and better. And so too are the individuals who have relied upon the leadership of the Crosby Law Firm to protect their rights. In honor of the American spirit, the Crosby Law Firm proudly salutes we the people of the State Line community.